welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to sew the ribbon and elastic onto your pointe shoes obsessive compulsive dancer style. I wanted to show you how broken and flexible my old shoes are compared to my new shoes. Today you're going to need your pointe shoes, your elastic, and I am doubling it over so you can see it better because it is invisible elastic. You'll need your ribbon, some scissors, some straight pins or safety pins. I prefer safety pins because they stay in the material better and they won't poke me when I'm trying to work on my shoes, but today I only had the straight pins. You will also need a needle and thread, which I am pointlessly trying to show you the needle. There's a sewing pun for the day. And you will also need a lighter. You will need your toe pads and toe spacers if you wear them. And I like to use this little sock in order to keep my toe pads and toe spacers on when I'm trying my shoe on, and a ruler if you want precise cuts. There are two types of elastic, one that's just normal and one that is mostly invisible to the audience when dancing on stage, which I am using today. You also have your normal ribbon or your ribbon with elastic sewn at about the middle of it, and the stuff I have today is called Elastorib by Block. There are two ways to sew your elastic. You can crisscross them, which is what I will be showing you, or you can have one piece wrapped around your ankle. Right now I am putting on my toe spacer, my toe pad, and the little sock in order to try on my shoe and decide where I want my ribbons and elastic to go. For the ribbon, I usually cut mine 22 inches long, and I'll burn the edges, but I didn't show that today because these ribbons did come pre-cut. I'm showing you right now that the shorter end of the ribbon is the one that will be sewn into the satin of your pointe shoe. With the Elastorib that I have, I want to make sure that the elastic is positioned at the back of my Achilles tendon, which I'm going to show you in just a second. It will be in between my two fingers, and I'm going to stretch it out right there. For my elastic, I want the back piece of elastic to be right underneath my ankle, and the front to be right in the middle of my arch. So right there I'm showing you that's behind my ankle, and right there's my ankle. And when you come around to the other side, it's about in the middle of my arch. Once I figured out where this is, I will adjust the tightness of the elastic and pin it in place. And then you can cut off the excess elastic. I don't typically use a ruler, but I cut the elastic, leaving about an inch to sew onto the shoe. I use a simple running stitch up the left side of the elastic. When I get to the top, I push the needle right under the drawstring, through the shoe, and the elastic. And I'm showing you the drawstring right there, and then I'm going to pull it tight. Once I have done this, I will come over the drawstring, which is a very crucial because I do not want to sew the drawstring, otherwise I won't be able to adjust my shoes. So I'm inserting the needle into the elastic only right on top, and then I will repeat this and go back down underneath. And I like to keep my stitches close together. This is a variation of the whip stitch. It's not the exact whip stitch because mine are so tight together, but I like to have them tight together for strength purposes. I will now demonstrate on a piece of bright purple fabric with bright yellow thread. I wanted to show you that I double my thread to give me a stronger stitch, and then I'm tying it. This purple fabric has a seam at the top, and I use this as a makeshift drawstring. I'm going to do a small length of running stitch just for a demonstration, and then I start the whip stitch. You will have running stitches on your left side, your right side, and going across the bottom, but the top has a whip stitch. Typically, I have more stitches in between the bottom of my elastic and the drawstring, but just for the demonstration purpose, I only did about 2 stitches in there. Now I go under the drawstring from the inside, and then I'll flip this around for a better view. And from what would be the outside of my shoe, which is the back of my little demonstration piece, I go into only the elastic right above the drawstring right there. I like to keep my stitches close together. Like I said, that gives me a more secure stitch, and I will demonstrate a few more times. I didn't go all the way across the top because this was for demonstration only. And as I said, when I'm done with the whip stitch, I will use a running stitch down the right side and across the bottom as well, tying off the ends. Even though I don't do this in this demo, I like to tie my thread off and then tie the tails together, as I will show as it gets toward the end of this demonstration. And as I said previously, once you've finished up your last stitch, you're going to do a running stitch down the side of your elastic and then across the bottom to the other thread tail. And then I did not tie the working thread tail off that I'm currently using before I tied it to the other thread tail, but that is what you should do. That way it keeps your knot nice and secure and your thread won't pull out. Now that I've tied that off, I'm going to cut my tails short, still leaving a little bit of tail. That way they don't pull out of their knot. And then I'm going to show you this stitch. Alright, now here's a look at my ribbon. What you want to do is you want to fold the edge of your ribbon twice at about an inch interval and then pin it to your shoe, which I'm going to show you. I pin mine in between my elastics if there's room, otherwise I will pin it on the outside of my shoe and sew it there. The ribbon should come right underneath your ankle like the elastic did. I use a whip stitch variation on the sides of the ribbon, starting by pushing my needle through the ribbon of the point shoe, satin, and then I will come from the outside and push my needle through the satin only, as I'm showing here. That purple fabric is the satin. I will repeat this up the side, and then I will be careful of the drawstring as I do my running stitch across the top, and then a whip stitch once again along the right side, and then I'll use another running stitch across the bottom and tie that off. And I'm just going to demonstrate that for you a couple more times and show you what it looks like when I'm all done. Alright, I've finished sewing the ribbon on. My whip stitches along the side would typically be closer together and I would have more of them, but this is just for demonstration, and I will show you my finished point shoe in just a second. I've got my running stitches along the top and my running stitches along the bottom, and this is what it looks like from the back. You have those stitches under the drawstring, and then the ones going down the side and across the bottom. Here's my point shoe, and right in here you can see the whip stitches along the side, the running stitches along the top, the whip stitches on the side, and down there the running stitch along the bottom. And then my elastics, you can't see the running stitches going down the sides and across the bottom, but you can see the whip stitch, that pink thread that is different from the elastic. Those are all the spots with stitches in them. You can also use this method to sew the elastic on your flat shoes. These ones have come pre-sewn, but some of them come with the elastics that aren't sewn on, and so you can adjust how tight you want them, and you can use the same method that you use to sew your point shoes. You can also use this method to sew your demi-point shoes if you get them before you get point shoes. This is a very secure way to sew your point shoes. I've had point shoes for 2 years now, maybe 3, and none of my ribbons or elastics have ever come off, and I've sewn them like this since I started. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching.